communicable diseases to its focus areas.
WACCBIP is providing something to local and regional students that we probably don't have in many places within the country or within the region. Facilities, financial resources, as well as an environment that encourages student learning and research. And that has significantly increased students' output in the departments of biochemistry, cell and molecular biology.
WACCBIP has a whole range of collaborators at the institutional, national, regional, and international levels. These collaborations include the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research Ghana, the Department of Biomedical Sciences at the University of Ghana, among other departments, the Ghana Health Service, and the Ministry of Health. The center also has collaborations with institutions within and outside Africa.
Currently, there are about 6 labs in the center, and these labs do research based on the faculty who is in charge of these labs. We have a malaria group that has 3 different units. There's an immunology unit, there's a vaccine development unit, and also a transmission unit in there. We also have a molecular biology lab that has 2 faculty in charge there. One does work with African animal trypanosomes, and the other one, who is myself, works in Puri ulcer and antimicrobial resistance. We have a huge virology group. They do research, anything that has to do with viruses. So they do HIV research. They even look at some bat viruses and gastroenteric viruses. More recently too, we've added a COVID lab, and this lab does routine testing for COVID positivity and negativity, and we also look for seroprevalence across the population. So people who have been prior exposed to COVID but maybe have been asymptomatic, so they don't know whether they had COVID or not. And we've actually just recently published a paper on our findings.
The virology laboratory of WACCBIP was set up right from the beginning with one main lab, and they were doing things like rotaviral, researching into rotaviral infections in Ghana. The virology lab at WACCBIP was also involved in the first identification of a dengue case in Ghana, and also doing HIV research, as well as research on viruses which are in bats, but which might be have a risk of causing disease in humans. So these are filoviruses. They are the same type of viruses that cause Ebola. So that's work that was being done.
The center currently has 6 research laboratories, namely the Cell Biology and Immunology Lab, commonly known as the Malaria Lab, the Molecular Biology Lab, the Virology Lab, the Medicinal and Natural Products Lab, the Next Generation Sequencing Lab, and the Forensic Biochemistry Lab. At WACCBIP, the scientific tools and equipment are always and readily available to students, regardless of the courses being studied at the center.
Really, the driving force was to try to create a world-class research and training environment where young African scientists from across the continent can come here and develop their talent and do high-quality research that can be comparable to research that's done in any part of the world. So basically, that was the vision that we were pursuing.
Throughout my academic journey, I'd always looked for opportunities to come back home. My plan has always been to establish myself, to spend my most productive, my most useful years in Africa and hopefully in Ghana. So even though I studied abroad altogether for 13 years, followed by 6 years as a postdoc also abroad. So altogether I was away from Ghana for about 18 years. I was always looking for opportunities to return. During my second postdoc, I actually met Professor Wandare, the director of WACCBIP, in London when he came to actually receive an award. And that was the first time I heard about WACCBIP. And so hearing about WACCBIP, hearing what Professor Wandare was trying to do in Ghana, I felt that it was a place that would welcome someone like me, a place that someone like me potentially could thrive. So I began to look for opportunities to return, and I was able to get funding to support my return to Ghana, and so applied for a position and was appointed as a research fellow. It was basically a fulfillment of something I'd always wanted to do, and WACCBIP stood out as a place that, even though it was a young center, was led by somebody who himself was very dynamic, who identified a lot with the ideals that I myself identify with, and so was somebody that I thought I could work for, somebody who could mentor me.
WACCBIP has evolved to become a world-class research center, thriving on initial funding from the World Bank and subsequent support from the Wellcome Trust and the Africa Academy of Science.
We were very fortunate to get the funding through World Bank to establish the Center of Excellence here. And part of that funding gave us a huge chunk of money to buy core equipment that could be used and shared by all faculty in the department and opened up to faculty within the university and within the sub-region. We have a core facility for flow cytometry. We also have a core facility for sequencing of DNA. Just recently, we really upgraded it to include a NextSeq Illumina sequencer, which is probably one of two in the entire Africa. And that has the capacity to sequence both DNA and RNA, which is world class. We have a confocal microscope core facility, which can be used to take images of cells and for us to understand actual cell biology as it happens in real time. We also have the protein expression lab that I talked about, and we have state-of-the-art equipment in these laboratories that help us, again, make proteins, express proteins, and take it to the next level of trying to identify what these proteins actually do within cells.
Since I've been in the virology department, I've been doing mostly HIV research, that's my specialty, looking at how the different genotypes we have in Ghana affect the ability of treatment and the progression of the disease. And of course, since the pandemic, we have been right at the forefront of doing research of SARS-CoV-2, that's the virus that causes COVID-19 in Ghana. The HIV research that we've done here at Virology, prior to my coming, there's been some findings that in the Ghanaian population, some of the genes that may be involved in progression are deleted in some of the population. Actually, a few of my colleagues did that work. And since I've been here, we've been looking at the new drug which has been introduced in Ghana, dolutegravir, and our data, which is yet to be published, is showing that it is one of the best drugs to be used, and we are also selecting some mutations for this drug.
My experience in WACCBIP here has been very great. I came here in 2014. So after my undergraduate, I joined the lab in 2015 and I served as a research assistant. When I entered, I didn't know anything about research, but I've got opportunity through mentorship and training. I've had great experience here. Sure, I think there's fairness in the enrollment process. What I know, I was fortunate after my first year master's, I was enrolled into the PhD program. Then what I have seen so far, I realized before you get admission to the program, you write in exams and they try to look at gender balance and also the international and the local students. So there's fairness in the selection process. So my PhD thesis or project seeks to develop novel diagnoses for detecting Plasmodium species. So Plasmodium species are parasite that causes malaria, and currently we have RDTs and microscopy at the point of care for detecting these species. But unfortunately, these tools are not sensitive or specific enough for detecting these species. So there are more reliable tools, which are the PCR or molecular-based diagnostic tools. And if I can give you an example, that's what we are using to detect COVID now. But the unfortunate thing is these tools are not readily available in terms of the reagent. So my project seeks to develop these reagents here in Ghana so that we can make them readily available and also cost effective for detecting infectious diseases.
The center runs 3 programs at the master's level, which includes Master of Philosophy in Molecular Cell Biology of Cell and Infectious Diseases, Master of Philosophy in Biochemistry, and Master of Philosophy in Molecular Biology. The PhD level includes PhD in Biochemistry and PhD in Molecular and Cell Biology of Infectious Diseases. The center also engages the community in its activities from time to time.
What was of common interest to all of us was that we wanted to create a world-class research and training environment to do basic science. Now, this was led by me, but with support from, several colleagues here at the Department of Biochemistry and also at the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research. In terms of the resources we need sustainable funding, predictable funding. If you look at all the countries that have developed, they have predictable funding for research and for science. If you look at the USA, they have something called the NIH, which they pump billions and billions of dollars in every year as part of their national budget. It's locked in. Ghana, we still don't have that. We've been talking about a research and innovation bill for a long time. Still not been enacted. We need to have such things so that we as scientists, there's a fund that we can apply to access funds to do research and to innovate on a sustainable basis. As we say it, we compete for funds from overseas.
Let me go and tell them to come and sit in front there.
Lydia, wait. Start. All right. Good morning, everyone. Apologies that we're running a few minutes late. My name is Peter Kwashi, and this is my counterpart, Lydia Mosi. She's going to talk after me, so I'll just mention her name. And this is another edition of the WACCBIP Research Conference 2023. I cannot welcome you, but I'll just say that we're about to start the proceedings, and Lydia will give us a few housekeeping items that we will consider during the conference.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning, everyone, again. And yes, it's another WACCBIP Research Conference 2023 edition. We are really pleased to welcome all of you back to our wonderful center, and we are so proud to showcase to you all the research work we've been doing in the past calendar year. most appreciated is the fact that our students have really worked hard, overcome challenges that COVID posed, and have put out data that is really intriguing. A few housekeeping rules is that this year we are going digital, so you would look around and see that there are lots of QR codes everywhere. Some of them are for the program alone, others are for the entire research brochure. So please do well to scan, download the program so that you can have a soft copy and keep abreast with everything that we are doing as we go on. This morning's program has, in addition to our normal activities, 2 lunches, which I would leave for the director to announce. Currently, we are waiting for the Vice Chancellor, who is the chairperson, to join us and get seated on the high table, and then we'll start our proceedings. There she comes. Wonderful. Great. Provost. Thank you so much. Great. Wonderful. So at this moment, it is my singular honor to call on Professor Gordon Awandari, our Pro Vice Chancellor, Academic and Student Affairs, and the founding director of WACCBIP, to the podium.
Good morning. It's a great pleasure to be convening again for another edition of the WACCBIP Research Conference. This conference was instituted in 2016 to provide a platform for our trainees to showcase the research that we do here, and for our collaborators to meet and interact, share ideas, and develop additional research projects. In addition, it provides us an opportunity to engage with stakeholders and the general public and try to connect with policymakers on the research that we do and some of the findings that could have impact for public policy and also for product development. Over the years, the conference has gained momentum, and each year it gets more and more interesting and gathers more and more interest across the world. As usual, we are joined by many friends locally and internationally, and we would acknowledge all of them as we go along. It's also our pleasure to be celebrating a number of milestones today. First is that the University of Ghana is 75 years old. I thought I'll get a clap. So I have the honor of being the first to wear the 75th anniversary. Some of this will be available for sale outside for those who are interested. But I made it a point to wear it first and, really show the beauty of the designs. So that's the first milestone. So over the course of the last year, since August, the university has been holding various activities ranging from sports to lectures and entertainment activities to celebrate our Diamond Jubilee. So this WACCBIP conference, therefore, is one of the official activities of the 75th anniversary. The VC has approved. She smiles, so she has approved. So it's our pleasure to invite you to celebrate with us this milestone. In addition, WACCBIP itself is going to be 10 years next year. Can you imagine? it just looks like yesterday that we started this crazy adventure and trying to change the face of research on the continent. And I'm happy to say that we have succeeded beyond our wildest imaginations, and that's thanks to all of you and the support and belief that you had in the vision. So we thank you very much for following us and supporting us. Thank you very much. I thought I'll get a clap. The third thing that we are going to celebrate today is the phase 2 of the Deltas program. As you know, WACCBIP is fundamentally anchored by two main capacity building programs: the World Bank African Centers of Excellence project, and then the Deltas program, which is supported by mostly the Wellcome Trust, used to be run out of the African Academy of Sciences, now being run from the Science for Africa Foundation. And we would hear from my friend Alphonse, who's from SFA. So WACCBIP was proud to receive another Deltas Award, one of 14 awards that were given. The first round there were 11, and the second round there were 14. And we are proud to have been selected once again as a leading institution for high-quality research on the continent. So we want to celebrate that today as well. It is important to note that in addition to the World Bank and Deltas, we are also part of almost every major capacity building program that has been initiated on the continent that is related to health research. And we are proud to be the only institution that is part of all the health capacity building programs. And we have grants from all the health capacity building programs. And these were all won through competitive application processes. So we're really proud of all of you for the support. So, as we celebrate these milestones and we begin the celebration of our 10th anniversary, it's important to always take stock of what we have achieved. Over the last 9.5 years, we have trained, or we are training, we've given opportunities to train 350 young African scientists for long-term research training. That's for master's, PhD, and postdoctoral training. And that's 350 young men and women who have been given an opportunity for an education in advanced science. And that's from 16 different countries. So we want to celebrate that today. We have been able to do this because we've had significant funding support. Since we started WACCBIP, we have been part of grants that have brought $52 million to the University of Ghana. $52 million in the period. Out of those, about $42 million have come directly to us, which we control. And we are proud to say that more than 60% of these funds have been used to support capacity building, to give fellowships to our fellows, and to build the labs, buy high-end equipment, and provide travel opportunities for our students and fellows to attend conferences and present their work, and to receive additional training in international labs, and visit collaborators, and so on and so forth. So in terms of value for money, I think our funders will be proud to know that it costs a lot less to train people through WACCBIP than anywhere else in the world. So we are very proud of that. This has partly been made possible because we started off by developing a graduate program of our own and taking that through accreditation all the way to the international level, where we have accreditation from the Royal Society of Biology for our master's and PhD programs. And so we enroll all our students here in the University of Ghana, where we don't have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuition fees. And that saves us a lot of money. Moreover, that strategy is meant to train the scientists right here in the proper context and prepare them to be able to do science on the continent and to thrive on this continent. Many of us didn't have that opportunity. We had to train outside. But coming back, we recognize the need to be trained in the right environment as long as the facilities are made available. And through WACCBIP, we've made the facilities available, and we have been able to provide this platform to train people at a very high level right here on the continent. And so that would ensure that they stay on the continent and help us to reach the critical mass that we are looking for. And I'm happy to report that that strategy is working, because when we follow up our graduates, we realize that the majority of them have stayed on the continent. Indeed, for our postdocs who are at the tail end of the training and who are ready to start their own careers, more than 80% of them have remained on the continent, and they are doing research or working in industry. So we're very proud of that. In addition, the PhD students, majority have also stayed on the continent, except those who have gone for postdoc or other additional training activities elsewhere. So we are very glad to see that the strategy is working, and we're training people and building capacity right here. In addition to that, our students and fellows have published over 400 high-quality publications in some of the best journals in the world. And we pride ourselves in making sure that for most of these publications, the fellows are the first authors. And this is how we put them forward to develop their careers. So we're very proud of all these achievements over the last 9.5 years. And we thank you all for the support. All right, so we're going to get going now. I've said enough. It's my pleasure to introduce the chairperson for this conference. I mean the entire conference, not just today. So she's going to be here every day to chair. She may go and come, but she's the chair of the entire conference. So it's my pleasure to introduce my boss, who is a professor of linguistics, specialized in pragmatics. She's also a trailblazer for women in leadership. She's the first female vice-chancellor of this great university, and she is leading significant transformation of this university to return us to where we belong as the best university in Africa. So, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Nanaba Apiamfu, thank you.
Thank you, Pro Vice Chancellor. I'm not sure if this is working. Okay. I think it's better now. All right. Thank you, Pro Vice Chancellor for Academic and Student Affairs and Founding Director of WACCBIP. I see my other Pro Vice Chancellor for Research, Innovation and Development, who is also a member of your International Advisory Board, right? Provost of the College of Basic and Applied Sciences. I see a number of deans and directors and other officials of the university, the Director of Finance, and I also want to acknowledge all the guests that we have here for this very special conference. It's special because it actually, among other things, is starting the 10th anniversary celebration of WACCBIP. Let me also acknowledge our students, fellows, and partners who are here, because it is because of all of you that we can do what we are doing at WACCBIP. And so it is my pleasure and honor to chair this year's conference. As Provici said, it's the whole conference, not just this morning that I am chairing. And so I'd like to use the opportunity to welcome those of you who are regulars back to the University of Ghana. And for those who are visiting for the very first time, I don't know where you have been all this while, but it is my pleasure to welcome you to this conference, which is under the theme Innovative Research for Sustainable Impact. Now, the theme for this conference encapsulates the essence of what we aim to achieve through our collective efforts. In a world facing complex challenges, it is crucial that our research endeavors go beyond traditional boundaries and push the frontiers of innovation. Our goal is not just to create knowledge, but to leverage on the knowledge we create for sustainable impact, ensuring a brighter future for all. WACCBIP has been committed to advancing scientific research and spearheading positive change for almost a decade. The center has nurtured a vibrant community of researchers, scientists, and scholars who are dedicated to addressing some of the most pressing health issues of our time, from infectious diseases to genomics, as well as drug discovery to bioinformatics. WACCBIP's research embraces a multidisciplinary approach with a common purpose of creating sustainable impact on human health and well-being. As we gather here today, we recognize the immense potential that lies within our collective expertise and knowledge. Provici recounted the successes within the last almost 10 years. You can be assured that there is a lot more that we can do together. The conference therefore provides a unique platform for interdisciplinary collaboration, fostering meaningful partnerships and engendering a culture of innovation. It is through these collaborations that we can bridge gaps, transcend boundaries, and transform our ideas into actionable solutions. The conference also offers an excellent exposure for our graduate students to build confidence by sharing their research work with a wider scientific audience beyond their usual progress report seminars. The world is evolving at an unprecedented pace, presenting us with new challenges and opportunities. Climate change, global health crisis, and socioeconomic inequalities require us to think differently and adopt a forward-looking approach. We must challenge conventional wisdom, embrace novel technologies, and explore uncharted territories to uncover breakthroughs that will shape our future. The pursuit of innovative research for sustainable impact is, however, not without challenges. We must address issues of ethical conduct, promote open science, and ensure equitable access to scientific knowledge and resources. Collaborations across borders, cultures, and disciplines is essential to overcoming these challenges and building a brighter and more inclusive future. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to share some of the highlights of WACCBIP's achievement over the past academic year. Professor Awandare covered the 10 years. I'm just highlighting some programs and activities over the past academic year. So during this particular academic year, 2022-2023, the center enrolled 35 graduate interns, 25 master's fellows, and 8 PhD fellows. The center also provided opportunities for career development to 312 industry professionals through short courses. Cumulatively, since 2014, the center has enrolled 8 cohorts of 175 graduate interns, 9 cohorts of 201 master's students, and 108 PhD students, and 41 research postdoctoral fellows. I think the center deserves a round of applause. And additionally, 7 enrolled in other programs at the University of Ghana and awarded scholarships on WACCBIP grants. So WACCBIP is that generous. 6 cohorts of graduate interns, 7 master's cohorts, and 5 PhD cohorts have currently completed their respective programs. In terms of research, WACCBIP's research mission is to conduct cutting-edge research to guide the development of new approaches to disease diagnosis, prevention, and control. The priority diseases include malaria, trypanosomiasis, tuberculosis, Buruli ulcer, HIV, COVID-19, rotaviruses, influenza, and dengue, as well as non-communicable diseases such as cancers, chronic kidney disease, sickle cell disease, and diabetes. If there is any unit which is bringing to life my first key strategic objective as Vice Chancellor, WACCBIP is certainly one of them. A total of 385 papers have been published by researchers and WACCBIP fellows from 2015 to date. Within the past year, various research laboratories have been renovated and upgraded. The center also began the construction of a container storage facility for storing laboratory reagents and supplies, which is near completion. As the scope of work increases, there's a need to engage more hands. Various categories of staff, including a communications officer, postdoctoral fellows, research associates, and research assistants, were recruited to support new projects at the center. It's important. I am concerned about science communication and science communication beyond, our in-groups. So it's important that the work that we do is put out there, and that's why the recruitment of a communications officer is very significant. Now, the center has been successful in winning competitive research and training grants over the past years. We had Professor Awandari, and the center has brought a lot of money to this university, which has not only benefited WACCBIP, but the university largely. During the last academic year, the center also received some significant high-profile visits. This included the Principal and Vice Chancellor of University of Dundee, UK, Professor Ian Gillespie and his team. It included a team from the World Bank Group led by Dr. Jamie Saavedra, and also the Vice Chancellor and Principal of University of Edinburgh, Professor Sir Martinson. And there were many others. Now, throughout this conference, we have the opportunity to engage in stimulating discussions, exchange ideas, and showcase the remarkable work undertaken in laboratories and research institutions around the world. It is my hope that these interactions will lead to fruitful collaborations, inspire future research endeavors, and ignite a shared commitment to sustainable impact. And so on behalf of management of the University of Ghana, I wish to commend the WACCBIP team under the able leadership of one of my 2 deputies, Professor Gordon Awandari, for such a sterling performance. I also extend my appreciation to all the researchers, sponsors, partners, and organizers who have made this conference possible. And so, as I bring my opening remarks to a close, let us remember that our research holds the key to a brighter and more sustainable future. Let us seize this opportunity to forge new paths, challenge existing paradigms, and strive for excellence in all that we do. Together, we can make a difference for generations to come. So thank you all, and may this conference be a catalyst for innovative research and sustainable impact. And so, as chair of the whole conference, I guess you would understand when I have to sneak in and out. I have every confidence in the team here that even while I am away, they will steer this conference to a successful end. Thank you for your attention.
All right. Thank you very much to our distinguished Vice Chancellor of this great University of Ghana. I thought I would get another applause. For the distinguished Vice Chancellor and for the great University of Ghana. All right, so the VC has indicated that should give us 30 more minutes of her time. So we will try to do the major, activities or the major launches that we need to do, and then after that we can take our time and party properly. So I think the VC started acknowledging people, but let me formally acknowledge all the distinguished guests who are here. We'll start from internal. So I want to acknowledge my colleague, the Pro Vice Chancellor for Research, Innovation and Development at the University of Ghana, Professor Felix Asante. Please. So he signs all the grant contracts. So as you can imagine, he's really watching us very well to make sure that we're spending the money well. So boss, you're welcome. And then our provost, he'll be speaking next, the provost for the College of Basic and Applied Sciences, Professor Boatino Onajiman. As you know, WACCBIP is under the College of Basic and Applied Sciences. Some people normally assume that we're under College of Health Sciences because of the work we do. But we're actually under the College of Basic and Applied Sciences, which is where we belong because we do basic research. So I also want to acknowledge the provost who are present, starting from the dean of the provost, Professor Danofori. Where are you? Oh, you're hiding at the back. Professor Ofori, please, let's see you. Okay, so that's Professor Danofori. He's the, okay. He's the provost for the College of Humanities. Now, if you know the University of Ghana, the humanities constitute about 65% of the university. So in other words, he is the owner of the university in reality. So he carries most of our student burden as the provost of the College of Humanities. And he's also the most senior of the provost. So I have given him the title Dean of Provost. So we are trying to change the statutes to add that to the university position so that he can be the Dean of Provost in a formal way and get an allowance. GTech. Is GTech here? Okay, GTech is not here, so we can offer allowances. We also have many deans and directors here. Director of Finance was already mentioned. Please, Director of Finance. We have the Director of our University Hospital. Please wave. Dean of Medical School is there. Please wave. Dean of Dental School is there. Please wave. Dean of Physical and Mathematical Sciences. Yes. I saw Dean of Biological Sciences. Where did he pass? Dean of Biological Sciences is there. Some directors are here too. Dean of Students is here. Yes, Dean of Students. She helps me to manage the rowdy students. So, is there another Dean or Director I've missed? Please just wave so that I can acknowledge you. Don't hide, please. Okay. Thank you. And there are many heads of department here, including the head of Department of Biochemistry, which is our home department. There's Professor Osborne Kwe here. I think you already introduced yourself, deputies. deputy directors are here, Professor Lydia Mosi and Dr. Peter Kwashi. Then our major collaborator, Noguchi, Noguchi people are here in their numbers. Former director of Noguchi is here, Professor Kojoko Ram. And other colleagues, including Mike and others, are here from Noguchi. Evelyn, I see them. Then I want to acknowledge our national level partners. I see Navrongo Health Research Center is here. The director is here. Dr. Ansan is here. I also saw somebody from Kintampo. Where's Kintampo? Anyway, I started as somebody from Kintampo. Anyway, then we come to our other major partners. We have the WHO here. He would give us some remarks. Dr. Sophonias Asrat is here, representing the WHO. We have the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, represented by the Vice President for Sciences, Professor Emerita Isabella Kwachi. We have the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, represented by my friend Reverend Awiti. Is your president here? He couldn't come, okay, so he's here. All right, then I want to acknowledge our advisory board. Our advisory board chair is this tall, big man sitting at the back, Professor Keith Gall. He's a distinguished professor from Oxford University, and he has been our advisory chair for a while now. He's shaking to try to leave, but we'll see. Then we have, several collaborating institutions. London School is here, Professor David Conway. We have Francis Crick Institute. Dr. Jean Langhorn is here. Queen's University, Miguel's here. University of Copenhagen, my fellow rascal, Professor Lars Vid. I've known Lars for many, many years, since I was a teenager, so he used to call me a rascal. But we're great friends. I see my former PhD advisor, Professor DJ Perkins from University of New Mexico. And University of Mettweiler, is that correct? Christian is here from Germany. Have I covered all the collaborators? We come to the Delta's collaborators. We have our Delta's collaborators from University of Lagos, University of Liberia, Dr. Dan is here. MRC, yesterday I saw Karim is left. Okay, anyway, so those are our collaborators. I hope I haven't missed anybody. Have I missed anybody? Please raise your hand if I've missed anybody. All right, then we come to the funders, those who actually give us the money, okay? We start from the World Bank. Dr. Sylvia Nkandiwiri is here. She is the program manager for the ACE project, so she's our boss in that regard. Then we have Dr. Alphonsus Neba from the Science for Africa Foundation, who's also the program manager for the Deltas. All right, so I think I almost missed Dr. Abraham Odro, who's the director for the Research Directorate of the Ghana Health Service and former director of Navrongo Health Research. Thank you. We have 3 keynote speakers. 2 will be joining us virtually, but one is here. Ngozi, is she here? She stepped out? Okay. Yeah, so one of the keynote speakers, the one for today is here. The other two join us virtually in the next few days. All right, so let's get on with the business, and then we can have solidarity remarks later. So the first thing we want to do is to launch our 10th anniversary. We have set up an anniversary planning committee, and they've started working and putting together the plans for the year-long celebration of our 10th anniversary. So I will call the chair to give us a few updates on what they are doing, and then after that, the VC would officially launch that together with the deltas. We will do the deltas as well. So we'll try to do this very quickly. Reverend Boyon is the chair of the planning committee. Other members are here. Yeah. Chris Atadiga is one. Where's your boss? It's coming, okay. All right, so Reverend, please take 2 minutes and just give us an update.
So good morning. A lot has been said about capacity build. I just want to look back at what we have done, and then going to be addressing health challenges, scientific capacity. And we have as our logo, because we have to do this within a short time, I'm not going to elaborate on much. For our logo, which had been developed by one of our former interns at WACCBIP admin, I don't know whether he's here, Simon Donko. So the logo. So here is our logo, the 10th anniversary logo. In case you are wondering what are within the circular parts, the images we see there partly represent the state of the art equipment that we have, which are being used for research. Part of it reflects what we do beyond this place, and which is the public and community engagement. So we take what we do, the result of what we do, out there for others to know about it and benefit from it. There is also something, some aspect, some image that represent an ongoing conference or a photograph by participants in a scientific meeting. We can see below that our slogan, which is quality science and innovation. I'm sure we are all here mostly as scientists, so we will understand the importance of our emphasizing quality science and also coming up with innovative ideas. And that's what we have been doing and what we are envisaging to continue to do. The director and our Pro-VC, of course, showed us the 75th anniversary cloth. And of course, we've taken cue from that. We know it's important to have something to take away. Those who will visit us, of course, if you go back with this cloth, people will ask questions, and it will be a way of course, telling them about WACCBIP. So we have a cloth that had been designed again by one of our students, John Derridaji. Is he here? So Jerry, he's a level 300 student, and he designed this. I was asking what those symbols signify. And he put it this way: it is to showcase the knowledge that is shared as almost royal, akin to the kinship in this country. We value kinship. And these little symbols we see, we have a Dinkra symbol, which is engraved. You can see the Eugene emblem, and it is in there. One of them is in there. So because we value this, he has integrated that into this cloth. And we have two, the blue, black or navy blue color, and also the white. So you can choose, or you can buy both. With time, these will be alerted about this. So there will be a number of activities which will detail out as time goes on. The conference will be clamorous next July, about this time. So it's a year, all year round activities that we will be undertaking. And we are hoping that our alumni and fellows will be part of this. We are hoping to come up with a documentary. And as we do that, of course, we will approach you to provide some information. We'll also, even more importantly, be undertaking fundraising, which is aimed at, being able to do so many other things beyond what we've been able to do. Of course, we don't know when whether we will have the privilege of having more funds from ACE, more funds from Deltas, more funds, of course, from WACCBIP, and many more. But we think that we ourselves should be able to get some seed money somewhere and be able to even begin to support our students. So basically, these are the essentials. So members of the planning committee, we have Professor Lady Amosi. They haven't seen you. Dr. Peter Kwashi, both are deputies to our director. We have Professor Kobe Mensah, University of Ghana Business School. Dr. Jonathan Ajimani, who had been here for long. We were all here together, but he decided to go. And but he has a store of information and knows, unlike me, he knows the names of many more of our students and can help us connect with them. Dr. Yao Bediakun, and then Sika. I don't know whether Sika is here. She's probably busy with other things. Chris Atadika, Mr. Chris Atadika, also of business school. And then Dr. Selom Yawamuzu. Dominic, are you here? So Dominic will represent the alumni. And Andrew Nantoma, who is our communications manager. Stefan Dankwa, is he here? No. And then we have a student rep. And then for a secretary, we have Henrietta. Yeah. Okay. And of course,
I will just ask the members of the planning committee to come forward, and then the VC would formally inaugurate you and launch the anniversary celebrations, and then we'll move to Deltas. So please just step forward. I would also like to invite our board chair to join us for the launch of the anniversary. Professor Keith Gore.
Oh, let's see you. Don't be shy.
So, VC would pull up the banner to represent the launch of the anniversary. I hope this morning you've done your push-ups.
Oh, I've done that. I've done it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, so who will pull that?
Or you can just pull it up and do it. So this should be so you
Okay, so I'll say a few words before I.
if you want to say something.
Okay, but what is it? Okay, all right. So shall I invite Pro-VC Red to the other end, because there is, so that when it's time to pull up, I pull up here and you pull up, yeah, at the other end, yes. So ladies and gentlemen, guests, we have heard from the chair of the Anniversary Planning Committee. I was expecting to hear a bit more though about the specific activities, because I know WACCBIP, after all the scientific talk, we will party. And I was looking forward for that, so I pin it down in my calendar before it fills up. As you know, it fills up very quickly. But I also like the diversity of the planning committee, the inclusion of student members, and also people outside of WACCBIP. I know that this is a formidable team and you're going to do a great job. So in commemoration of 10 years of academic excellence, 10 years of capacity building, training African scientists in Africa, for Africa, 10 years of cutting-edge research in the health sciences. We celebrate WACCBIP, and I duly declare the 10th anniversary of WACCBIP launched. Take a photograph here.
All right, thank you very much. I would like to invite Dr. Alphonsus Neighbor to tell us about deltas and SFA briefly before we launch the.
Thank you very much, Gordon, for inviting me. The Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellors, Deans, Heads of Departments, Directors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start these opening remarks by first congratulating the Vice Chancellor for her historic appointment as the first female Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana in its 75 years history. Secondly, I would also like to congratulate the WACCBIP team under the leadership of Professor Gordon Awandare for the successful renewal of the Deltas Africa Phase 2 grant. Affairs of the University of Ghana did not escape the Science for Africa Foundation's notice, as we had long recognized you as a global research leader when we awarded you the Deltas Africa grant during Phase 1 of the program. In WACCBIP Phase 1 and 2 grant and other major grants would not only have been possible without the support. We have no doubt that the ripple effect of this achievement will and is influencing more centers and institutes at this citadel of study and academic inquiry to strive to emerge as globally recognized centers of excellence in their various disciplines and in their own rights. However, do not let WACCBIP successes in grantsmanship mislead anyone to believe there is adequate funding for research and development on the continent. On the contrary, there is a global lack of investment in transformative science and innovation in Africa. A lot of progress has been made in advancing science with continental programs to fund research and measure R&D spend, including Auda NEPAD's Africa Innovation Outlook. The programs have created high-value jobs, grown young African scientists, particularly women, and promoted intra-African collaboration. However, there are still major gaps. African countries only dedicate on average 0.4% of their national budgets to research and development compared to a global average of between 1.4 to 1.7%. Consequently, Africa has 17% of the world's population, but contributes just 2.6% of the world's research output, 168.8 per million inhabitants. Africa lacks the capacity to address its health challenges, contributing to a disproportionate global disease burden of 25%. 278 million people in Africa suffer from chronic hunger, which represents 20% of the continent's population. Africa contributes the least to global greenhouse gas emissions by only 4%, yet it is hardest hit by the impacts of climate change, fed agriculture. We believe is to be a leader in strengthening African science and innovation for science ecosystems to possibly illusion through our core business, which has three components. The first one is convening. The limited funding we have would be able to yield the maximum impact. We also design programs and provide oversight for the programs across the continent. And then we do funding. We mobilize funding to support African scientists throughout the continent. The Developing Leadership Training and Science in Africa program that we christened Deltas Africa is a $170 million program supported by Wellcome Trust and the British Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. The vision of the program is to support the Africa-led development of world-class research and research leaders in Africa. This new generation of scientists will play a major part in shaping and driving well-being and sustainable socio-economic development in the continent. The key objectives of the program are: 1, to produce world-class research and globally relevant research for health and socio-economic advancement in the continent. 2, to strengthen research leadership, training, and mentorship. 3, to cultivate professional environments to manage and support research and build positive research cultures on the continent. And 4, to foster equitable collaboration in research and enhance engagement with community, public and policy stakeholders on the continent. To achieve this, Deltas Africa funds programs that address all 4 strategic areas of its theory of change, which are scientific quality, research leadership, research management, culture and environment, and scientific citizenship. The Deltas Africa program is conceived and implemented on a hub and spoke model. In other words, we identify a research leading institution that's got the capacity to conduct globally competitive research, and we request them to identify partners who are able to implement specific work packages within their own institutions, and also identify collaborators who are usually equally strong institutions that are based generally in the North, who can provide expertise in various areas to ensure that the entire program objectives are met. what are some of the key principles that govern the Deltas Africa model? The first one is that we pursue excellence, and we require all Deltas programs to pursue excellence. The programs are Africa-led. We also believe in balancing equity with excellence. Let me just pause a while to explain a bit about balancing excellence with equity. I think we all know that previously, grant or funding decisions for research are based entirely on quality. But this means that a lot of other research institutions and researchers across the continent who don't fall within very strong institutions are unable to compete. So this leads to some kind of skewed awards where very few institutions on the continent get all the major grants from major funding partners. And therefore, by being creative to allow strong institutions to partner with other institutions to collaboratively apply for grants, this model is able to ensure that a lot of other institutions on the continent are able to benefit from major grants from funding partners. We also value intra-African collaboration, the creation of state-of-the-art research environments, access to multiple research resources and opportunities, advocacy for more research funding and policy informed by research on the continent, and building critical mass in several areas, not only in the science, but also in the underlying environments that support research to flourish. And of course, progressive research cultures. There are over 14 Deltas Africa networks that are spread across the following countries: Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, Ethiopia, Kenya, Mali, Senegal, South Africa, Tunisia, and Zimbabwe. So in total, there are 14 institutions that are all hosted in Africa. There are 71 partner institutions. 53 out of these 71 institutions are in Africa, and there are 35 partner institutions and host countries, 26 out of 35 of them being in Africa. As I conclude, I would like to borrow some advice that was given to the Science for Africa Foundation team by Jeremy Farah, the former director of Wellcome Trust. He advised as follows: that pursue excellence, and excellence will pursue you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alphonse. So, just to give you a little brief about the Deltas program. In Africa, infectious diseases remain the leading cause of morbidity and mortality in the population. But non-communicable diseases are starting to catch up with infectious disease and even surpass. It is estimated that by 2030, non-communicable diseases will present the greatest burden on health on the continent. We are using two main approaches: the research and the training or capacity building. We are going to use advanced molecular methods and cellular approaches. So we are seeking to understand disease mechanisms, whether infectious disease or non-communicable disease, biologics, and how we can use that knowledge to develop new and communicable disease side. We will use genetic approaches to try to identify genetic signatures or markers that are associated with certain diseases or which run through certain families. These can be the basis for developing early diagnosis, which is crucial for determining the outcome of non-communicable diseases. So that's for the research side. Then we have the capacity building and the training, where we identify some of the best young scientists on the continent, and then we provide them with the skills and the tools that are necessary to undertake research and to also contribute to public health interventions in their various countries. The research is also getting more exciting because we are asking new research questions, especially now with the opportunity to look at the interaction between infectious disease and non-communicable diseases. We get the opportunity to study the interaction between these two and see how infectious agents could precipitate or accelerate the development of non-communicable disease. We want
want an Africa which is doing cutting-edge science with young people leading science, developing new innovations in health, including diagnostics, developing new drugs, developing new vaccines, so that when we have the next pandemic, we'll be developing our own vaccines. Who knows, maybe the next emerging pathogen would be from Africa, and we will be the first to respond.
All right, so under the Deltas 2 program, we're going to get 4.4 million US dollars. We're expecting twice of that, but we're grateful for we're grateful for 4.4 million. You plan to continue to build capacity. So we're going to fund 2 senior research fellowships. That's people who are ready to start their own research groups and become PIs. So 2 such fellowships. We're going to fund 8 postdoctoral fellows. That's people who are 1 to 3 years post-PhD. We're going to fund 10 PhD students. Okay? We're going to fund 15 master students. We're going to fund 2 technology fellows. That's people who would be trained to manage equipment. This is an area we often forget. We train PhDs to do research, but then the high-end equipment we're buying, we don't have people whose job it is to manage those equipment. WACCBIP, we're trying to provide opportunities for people to develop careers in that area. So we're going to provide 2 fellowships to do that. In fact, the Creek Africa Network is going to provide another opportunity for that. We'll talk about that later. But 2, technology fellowships. And then we're going to provide 60 research internships. These are people out of undergraduate who we normally take and assign them to our research fellows and PIs so that they learn how to do research and they get mentored to have a career in research. And then we're going to fund 19 what we call research visitor fellowships. These are travel fellowships for our students and fellows to go to our partner labs in the US, UK, or wherever, where there are advanced facilities, to get an experience of an advanced research environment elsewhere. And so we're going to support 19 students to do that. So altogether, the majority of the 4.4 million, again, is going to go towards building capacity. And we're grateful to Science for Africa Foundation for that. In order to do this, we have put together a huge partnership as usual. WACCBIP, we believe in networks. So I'm going to call forward the Deltas partners so that the VC would launch the Deltas before she leaves. So I'm calling forward Dr. Benisdan from University of Liberia. Please step forward. Dr. Titi from University of Lagos. MRC is not here today, but Alfred Ngwa from MRC is also a partner. Then we have Ambrose Wonkam. I don't know if he's online. He was in Cape Town, but recently moved to Johns Hopkins, but he's a partner on this. Then we have our UK partners. Please join us. And then the VC would, what's the pull-up banner for Deltas? Okay. Pull-up banner. So, yeah. So VC will launch that before she leaves. By using all the minutes available.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Wandari. So once again, the University of Ghana continues to establish itself as a leader in West Africa and in Africa. There have been partnerships, yes, the North-South partnerships are great, but as Alphonse mentioned, the Intra-Africa partnership is also very significant. And so when we get the funding, we don't keep the funding to ourselves at the University of Ghana. It is right here on the continent, who will do research which will address the needs of our continent. And so on that note, I have the pleasure to launch the Deltas 2, right? Yes. So,
Good. So take off the chat as well. Let me see. Great. Solomon. I forgot Solomon. Solomon, yeah, that's please come. I forgot the local partners. All right. Thank you very much. So the VC is taking leave of us. We are very grateful for extending her time here. She's now running late for another meeting, so we're grateful for extra 30 minutes of her time. Thank you very much. All right. So whilst we were doing the launches, we're joined by other distinguished people. I want to introduce the manager of the Ghana Malaria Elimination Control Program, my good friend. Hey, did I? Kezia, ma'am. Dr. Kezia, ma'am, is our elimination control manager. We are very privileged to have her here because we are always trying to get her to come here. So we're happy that she's here today. All right. And then, of course, my friend Solomon Oforakwa joined us, Director of WACCBIP and Delta's partner. All right. So we would take quick remarks from our stakeholders, and then we would bring the session to a close. So I'll start with the Provost, who's our host, Provost of CBAS. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Director ProVC ASA. My boss has left, so I don't know what to say. I'm supposed to speak before she speaks. Three things that I want to highlight about this center called the West African Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens. I got it right? Good. The postdoctoral fellowship opportunities that the center offers. You know, if you're a PhD student, you work under strict supervision. And so the opportunity for you to have this postdoctoral experience is very crucial. In Ghana today, because of the ban of recruitment, this also offers opportunity for PhD holders to have experience, work under flexible conditions, not under the strict conditions during the PhD. So this is something that is highly commendable. The second one is, as a provost, I see a lot of recruitment for young researchers, 6 months, 1 year, etc. This is an opportunity for them to be exposed to advanced research, which is also highly commendable. The last one is, since this center or institute prides itself in basic science research, what it means is that they use a lot of advanced equipment instruments, and then the maintenance factor comes in. So a significant amount of their grant has to go into maintenance, Unfortunately, Ghana is a country that we don't manufacture or produce scientific instruments. So most of the equipment should have to be shipped in. And therefore, occasionally you see that components or parts, crucial parts, has to be shipped out for maintenance, etc. And that will definitely drain the coffers of that. So I hope that grants, when you receive, have components for maintenance. Yes, some. All right, yeah. And you know, these equipment are precision equipment. If you joke with it, the data that comes out will all be false. So this is a very important area that the center has done. Lastly, those who put up this conference, it has become a yearly event. The stress, the energy, the time that goes into it, the team has to be commended. And it means that from Saturday, another team has to start hitting the ground running for the 8th edition. And those who are going to share your experience from research today up to Saturday or Friday evening, I encourage you that research is not easy, especially in a developing country. And so when you come across obstacles, sometimes when we do experiments, we expect some results. And when you don't get them, so on this note, I cannot welcome you. I'll welcome you to the College of Basic and Applied Sciences. And then I wish WACCBIP a fruitful conference. Thank you very much.
Please, do we have... Okay, all right. So we would like to hear from Arts and Sciences, which is Ghana's Learned Society.
I know the Vice Chancellor has just left, and in her absence, though, we'll understand on all existing protocols. On behalf of the President of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, Professor Kofi Opokunti, who, for very good reasons, cannot join us. And on my own behalf, I thank you for the invitation to give a few remarks. Now, yours truly, the French will say moi, is the oldest founding member of WACCBIP. And this is a little-known fact, and Professor Wandari will bear me out on this. When WACCBIP curriculum was being developed in 2013, and often I got a little too busy as Dean of School of Public Health. So at the time, I had a very good dear friend visiting from Canada. At the time, Emerita Professor Patricia Romans, a geneticist, entomologist from University of Toronto, who happily contributed valuable comments to the evolving WACCBIP curriculum. Past tense, warm wishes, Gordon. I even lectured in vaccinology in the early stages, unknown to many of the young ones. And so over the years, I have followed the trajectory of excellence, amazing research capacity, and academic excellence being built in the past 10 years by Professor Wandari and his biomedical research team. And I say congratulations. Notwithstanding, I've visited and often watched the annual showcase of world-class research conducted by WACCBIP fellows and the orchestra of national and international faculty of the best minds in the field. Well done. Now, a little bit about the academy that I'm representing. The Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, Ghana's premier learned society, and the second oldest academy in Africa, was established by an Act of Parliament in 1959 to encourage the creation, acquisition, dissemination, and utilization of knowledge for national development. And in pursuit of these objects, higher education, through the many lectures, symposia, public education-related themes in Ghana, constitutional and legal affairs, food and agriculture, language, culture and arts, science, has wanted to be present at WACCBIP's annual showcase of world-class research from all over the world this year. We look forward to very fruitful deliberations and outcomes that will be beneficially, locally, and globally. As an academy, we also recognize the international nature of science and scholarship and applaud the government's interest and support in your well-being through the World Bank's African Centers of Excellence project. We also wish to encourage you to continue to be a shining example of what the right mix of disposition, training, funding, and leadership can produce. Now, to WACCBIP, quoting from a good friend, Emeritus Professor Arlington Chesney, a leading Caribbean agriculturist, researchers must be honest to self and subject area. They must yearn for not abuse of intellectual freedom and embrace research as a developmental challenge. End of quote. You all have this amazing opportunity to be part of this world-class research center. Grab this opportunity, I ask our fellows and students. Grab this opportunity and run with it. We look to you as future innovators to complete the unfinished work to HIV vaccines, to my own very special area, malaria, multi-component, multipotent, efficacious vaccine, which we're still looking for. Schistosomiosis vaccines, filariasis, multi-drug resistant microbes, molecular immune diagnostics, and neglected tropical diseases, and not least, we look on you to define genomic underpinnings of communicable and non-communicable diseases. So from the Academy, we wish you hearty congratulations, WACCBIP, and we welcome this news that you have also been awarded more money, the Delta II grant, which will help the center support the scientific development of accomplished postdoctoral mention and support. Was clear on the wall, was all written there. Having regard to the tremendous work you've done since your establishment not too long ago, the Academy wishes you, Ayuko, more grace to your elbows in all your endeavors. Keep soaring. Thank you for your attention.
We would now like to hear from our World Bank ACE partners. Shall we?
Mr. Wandare, distinguished chairperson, Professor Nana Abba, AMFO, distinguished guests, esteemed researchers, scholars, ladies and gentlemen. I bring to you warm greetings from the Secretariat of Association of African Universities here in Accra, Ghana. We are the regional facilitating unit and the national governments of 11 countries here and celebrate the pursuit of knowledge and innovations. Our profound appreciation to the management of Ghana's scholars who have dedicated their passion. WACCBIP is one of the 53 centers you may have noted from the figure, and I would like to confirm as 5, it's under top. So over the years, our role as an indicator on development impact, centers contribution to it at national level, regional time, particularly in the infectious sector. WACCBIP has been so instrumental in training the next generation of African scientists. And also within our record, we've noted that WACCBIP has continuously and uniquely responded to global pressing issues with urgency and creativity. WACCBIP has also lived to this principle that no matter how groundbreaking research is, it must not remain confined within academic circles. And we've last 4 months alone, this work of African Centers of Excellence on Infectious Diseases and Symposium, that's a WANIDA symposium, which draws partners from this region, and they are working together as a network. And WACCBIP is a leader to this network. And also following that, we noted an excellent inaugural lecture delivered by Professor Awandare, the director of the center. And with these events, you can see that WACCBIP has been powerful. It has provided a powerful show that it's able to enhance research and demonstrate how Africa is heavily endowed with solutions to its many problems, because there are so many innovations and technologies. Since 2016, has also evolved into a prestigious platform where cutting-edge research, innovations, discoveries, and variable collaborations converge. Fostering advancements have been a direct impact on human health and well-being. As we gather here today, we are reminded of the pressing importance of biomedical research and innovations. The world has been grappling with many challenges, and infectious diseases continue to pose a significant threat to the global health security. However, we firmly believe that through rigorous research like what we are doing, innovative strategies, and collective action, we can overcome these challenges and build a healthier and